in the deep dark hills of eastern Kentucky. That's the place where I traced my bloodline, and it's there that I read on a hillside gravestone, you'll never leave Harlan alive.
My name is Bethany Williams.
My name's Abigail Williams.
When I was 7, me and my sisters got took away from my mom and dad. My mom and dad had neglected us. They were abusive and they were on drugs. You know, they would leave us home alone a lot, and like we wouldn't have food. Like I remember at a young age, like one time we didn't have anything to eat, and I actually ate cat food because we didn't have anything to eat and we were left home alone. I was like 6 years old. But whenever I was 7, we got took away from our mom and dad and got put with our aunt and uncle. Christopher is his name. It started at 7. He started molesting me.
And me.
When you were how old?
Whenever I was 9.
So she was 9 and I was 7 years old whenever he started molesting us. He's a preacher. He would do stuff to us in churches. It's not an easy thing to talk about, but when you grow up being treated that way, it's kind of hard to actually like bring attention to the matter. But he would for me in church, like under the blanket whenever it was cold, and you know, being around other kids. Then he'd go up and preach about how women shouldn't wear pants, about how women couldn't wear their hair in braids because having a hair in 3 parts embroidered was against the Bible, and how women couldn't wear peace signs on their clothing, couldn't wear makeup, jewelry. So this went on for a long time. This wasn't like a few times. You know, it went on for at least 4 years. It started literally within a week of getting there. And I remember the very first time it started, it was a week, and it led into him giving us longer bath times. I didn't know it was happening to my sisters at first. At first, I just thought it was happening to me. I knew I didn't want to do anything. I was terrified. I feared for my life, and I feared for my sisters' lives. And he used a lot of fear against us. You know, you're going to hell if you don't do what I tell you to do, because you have to go by the Bible and listen to your parents. And you'll be split from your sisters if you don't do what I tell you to do. You'll be taken away from them. You'll never see them again. You'll get sent to a home where you'll get beat every day, and you'll be begging to hear me again and for me to come save you. He would say things like that. And he would also use bribery as a thing. Like, he would use food against us, against me. Like, whenever I lived with my aunt and uncle, we didn't get to pick what we ate. We ate from the garden, and if it was on the table, we had to eat it. You know, me and her, we would be sitting there for hours because we were picky eaters. So we would be sitting there for hours, you know, gagging on onions and peppers because we always hated them. And we'd still, even if we threw up food on our plate, we'd still have to sit there and eat it. I mean, it was disgusting, but that's just the type of living that it was there. And our uncle, he would give us less portions of whenever the food was actually good, food we actually liked. He'd give us less portions if we didn't do what he wanted. There were many signs that if I was a parent, I would have immediately noticed huge red flags. One of them was whenever he would whip us. We would get whipped, and we would have to pull our pants and underwear down to get whipped. And it was never hidden. It was never in a room when we get whipped like that. It was always in front of other kids, and It'd be out in the open, either outside or in the living room inside.
Okay. For me, how it started, I remember every single night before we would go to bed, he would we would all say a prayer. And he would, like, give us a kiss, but he would just stick his tongue in my mouth. So that's how it started for me.
How old was you at that time?
So I was around the age 9,
Okay.
10.
For a while, I didn't know that it was happening to my sisters. You know, I was living there. I was being abused in emotionally, every type of way. Emotionally, physically, mentally, sexually. Like my aunt, she would whip me for crying. If I got hurt and I cried, I would get hurt again for crying. She'd tell me, I'll give you something to really cry about. She wasn't a safe space. We didn't have a safe space. Me and my 2 sisters all shared a single bedroom. And their 2 kids each had their own individual rooms. A lot of differences were made. Our visitations got cut off pretty quickly with our mom and dad. I feel like our uncle seen our dad as a threat because it led to a huge argument. Like if my dad was like even 3 minutes late, we were forced to leave the visitation with him crying in the parking lot. My mom would do home visitations, but she didn't keep up with them. You know, she was very badly addicted to drugs, and she would come tweaked out to the visitations, honestly. Then she'd go and disappear for months, and you wouldn't hear from her. It felt very isolated. We lived on a hill, and around him lived his family, and his family didn't like us. They seen us as burdens to them. Like for Christmas, his mom and dad refused to buy us presents because we were seen as like just extra foster children, like that we shouldn't be there. And it was always, you could always see at any birthday party, any Christmas, anything like that. And anything we had, it really belonged to their kids. Like whenever we got took away from our mom and dad, our aunt and uncle went through our house and they got valuable items. For example, my uncle, he grabbed a PlayStation, and well, girls weren't allowed to play the PlayStation, so he gave it to his son. Any Barbies I had, it would be their little girls. You know, never had nothing on my own, never really had a voice, was scared most of the time. So this went on until I was like 13. My aunt had found out about it whenever I was 12. So whenever I was 12, I was in the car with my aunt and my cousin and my sister, my oldest sister who's not here right now. And my cousin told my aunt that my sister had been telling her things. At that time, I missed a step. I probably need to talk about. I'll talk about when we all found out first, and then I'll go to that. So I found out about it whenever I noticed that my uncle was in the house too long with her. He was in the house too long with her, and I just started noticing him being more sneaky around my sisters, and that's whenever I started getting older, you know, when I was like 9 or 10. And whenever I found out it was happening to them, I got really mad at him, and I confronted him, and I asked him why he was doing it to them. And he said he thought I was jealous, and he was just like playing it into a matter that I was jealous.
And you was more protecting them. You felt you was protecting them by it happening to you. At least it wasn't happening to your sisters.
Yeah.
But that turned out to not be true, correct?
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's really hard to talk about.
It's okay.
That one. But to find out that he was doing it to my sisters, it literally broke my heart. Because I felt like I was saving them, and like I hated myself during this time. Like I felt like I was disgusting. And like I felt like God hated me for it to happen to me.
There's still currently so much stuff that we still don't know that he did to me and my sisters. Like, we randomly, like, we'll start talking about it. And, like, I'll be like, do you remember him ever doing this or this? And they'll be like, you know, yeah, but, oh my God, I said it all. Here. Sorry, Beth.
Oh, sorry. I know it gets her, and she's not good at emotions. She literally likes to run away when she sees somebody cry. I'm sorry. So after I found out it happened to my sisters, I confronted him, and I mean, it still kept happening. Then we just started talking more and all talking about how it was disgusting and how we hated it. And how we didn't want to be torn apart because that's all we ever had. And no matter what item got took away from us, we were supposed to have each other. No matter what family member we lost or couldn't talk to anymore, we were supposed to have each other through everything. And we knew that we would do anything to keep each other. My oldest sister was like my mom. And because my aunt was never really like a mom. And she was just like my little, I don't even know, my little best friend. We held on to that bond with our lives, though. I mean, it meant everything to us. When you lose everything you have, and the only thing you literally have is a family member, you're going to hold on to that person, especially a sibling. You know, everything that we had to survive together as kids. Whenever mom and dad would leave us home alone for days at a time, we had to fend for ourselves. We had to keep each other alive and protect each other.
And he knew the connection that you all had and how important that was and used it against you. Is that right?
He did. He used it against us. He made sure we knew that if we ever spoke about it, we would be put into foster care and we would be split up. So my aunt ended up finding out about it. She didn't know at first. Whenever she found out about it, my cousin had told her because his kids knew about it happening. So our cousin had told her, and my aunt, she was really angry. Like, when she heard about it, we were driving back home from church, and we drove 2 different vehicles to and from church because there was 5 kids in total, and we didn't have a vehicle big enough to fit all the kids during that time. So we were in 2 different vehicles. She was in a different vehicle. She was in the vehicle with Neil, our uncle. And when my cousin told my aunt flipped out and she started swerving and screaming, "Why is she saying that? Why is she saying that? Is that true? Is that true?" And just like freaking out. And me and my oldest sister, I mean, we were terrified. I was just thinking we were going to hit a tree or she's going to turn around and kill one of us because she was just so angry and so scary whenever she was mad. I mean, and it wasn't new for her to hurt us at all. It actually happened quite often there. She was very abusive. So she drove home and she grabbed my sister out of the vehicle and she grabbed her by the hair of her head and she drug her around the trailer, our house, and beat my sister, hit her anywhere she could. Just didn't matter. My sister's pleas didn't matter, nothing. Like, she just kept hitting and kept hurting her. And I remember just standing outside and just not knowing what to do and just feeling so bad for my sister. So she beat my sister until she peed on herself. And she took her glasses off her face and she broke them and she threw them. And she went in the house and she made me come in the house with her. And she took me and my oldest sister, Charity, she took us into a bedroom with our uncle while she was outside because she said that she was not coming back in the house, that she was done with her, that she was going to get sent off, that she was a liar, that she was the devil. So she was freaking out about that, and she said, "I'm going to ask you one more time, is it true?" My oldest sister, terrified, she shook her head no, and she said no, and my aunt looked at me, and I just broke. I told her it was true. It was true. He did it. And he was in the room when this happened. He ran out of it, and he left. And my aunt was breaking things. She was smashing things. She was freaking out, just so angry. Where is he going? Where is he going? Why is this happening to me? What has happened? What has happened? She just went crazy. She didn't go to the police. She took us to his mom and dad's. And when she did, his mom and dad told us that we were liars and that we were going to burn in hell for lying. Because his mom and dad hated us. They always looked at us as extras. And they looked at little girls, if they're lustful, it's kind of like a natural situation to them, to that family. It's, oh, they're young, but, they're wearing shorts. It's their fault. They asked for it because they were wearing shorts. Well, no 6-year-old, 7-year-old who's wearing shorts asked to be molested. I mean, it's not supposed to work that way.
Who sexualizes a 6 or 7-year-old anyway? Yeah,
it's disgusting. So it's kind of like idolized. This household was strictly Pentecostal. And in some forms of strictly Pentecostal, I would say it was cult, very much. Look down on women and women cannot do things that men can. Women cannot wear pants because that's a manly thing. Women cannot play video games because that's a manly thing. Women cannot look lustful, or if they get hurt, they're asking for it. It's their fault because they disobeyed God and they were lustful. So it was a household very much like that, like we were supposed to know our place and just cater to everybody around us. So my aunt found out about it happening. She didn't go to the police. She told him to come back home, that they would work it out, and he came back home. And when he did, she hung bed sheets across the house on every doorway and told me and my 2 sisters that we couldn't be alone with him in the same room. That even if he was outside with other kids, we couldn't be out there. And she quit going to church. So we all still had to go to church, all the kids and him. He kept going to church. He kept preaching. Never missed a beat. Every Sunday morning, Sunday night, Tuesday night, Saturday night, and sometimes Wednesday night whenever we would travel, because he's supposed to be God's miracle, walking, talking miracle, because he broke his back and was never supposed to walk again, and everyone said, oh, he's God's miracle. And it was something, I would say, detrimental as a child to see someone who was hurting you praying for people and people saying, God's speaking through you, God's speaking through you, and to see them fall to the floor, shaking, saying that they were getting the Holy Ghost through someone like my uncle. I would say it was very mind-altering, because to me, I was just scared of him, and I never thought that God could really speak through him, because how much he would hurt me and my sisters. He knew how to keep it secret. He knew how to make us lie. Wasn't his first time. There were many rumors of him doing it to other kids, to family members, that just got swept under the rug because everyone said that he couldn't possibly do something like that. My aunt finally left him after a year of making us hide in rooms alone and not fully even enforcing the rules. I mean, he was still doing it because she would leave and go party. She got her wild streak. To him, it was him cheating on her, not him molesting kids. So she'd get her wild streak and get her lick back and go cheat on him, go party, while we were at home still having to do things for him. So...
Do you feel like that's maybe why she abused you all to a certain extent, because she viewed you all as another woman instead of another child and was jealous of you all?
I did feel that way as a child, multiple times, I felt like she was jealous. And before she found out, in my head, I feel like I didn't talk to her about it, and I didn't tell her about it because my uncle said I couldn't, but in my head, I feel like she knew, because she would okay him going and spending an hour in the bathroom with us. And
even knowing that those allegations had been made prior.
Yeah, from her sister. Yeah, from a family member. Multiple allegations were made, and there were obvious signs, but she never asked us directly. We were never allowed to ever talk about private parts or say anything like that. many words that weren't really cuss words were considered cuss words. And if we said something like vagina or penis, that was a cuss word, and we would get in trouble if we said those words. So we were always taught not to even talk about it, that it's like not okay to talk about at all. And that, that was also a problem for us whenever we did start trying to like tell the truth. Like, I remember the first time I sat in the forensics office trying to tell the truth. I know this is out of order, but the first time I sat there, like, the forensics woman, she was looking at me and she was like, tell me, because I said he would touch me down there. And she said, tell me what you're talking about. And like, I just ended up sitting there and struggling so long to even say the word, because it felt like I was like, I don't know, like a bad person for saying the words, and because they were so foreign to me. Like, sitting there to say vagina was like this terrible thing to me, and it was just the hardest thing to process and to speak about. And I had to do like an hour of that and saying everything that happened, and not just one word that I didn't like to use and that I was beaten for using as a kid if I ever said it, but multiple. And when my aunt left my uncle, things went even more downhill. She just started partying. She moved away from him. We all got an apartment together. They had split custody with their kids, and she started partying. She got a boyfriend, and, I would have to pee in a cup for him for his drug test to test clean. But I remember I would always, like, the house would always smell like skunk. It would smell like skunk and like tile, like the first apartment we lived in. I know tile is random, but that's just what it always smelled like, tile and skunk, because they would smoke weed. And she would always have a bunch of pill bottles that she'd keep on her nightstand. She wouldn't really hide them. She just kept them on her nightstand. I didn't understand medicine. Medicine was like a foreign concept to me, because our aunt and uncle were like against a lot of medicine. Like, if it was an absolute emergency, we could go to the doctor, but they were always against like drugs, prescriptions, anything like that, because they said it was like of the devil. So I didn't really understand medicines, and really understanding what my aunt was doing to herself. I just knew that she was even more meaner, and to me it was like almost like she was mad at me for what happened to her, like it was my fault. I felt our oldest sister didn't get hit as much, but me and her did, and I felt like our aunt would like take it out on us, like anytime she'd get upset. So my aunt ended up moving apartments again. She got kicked out of that one for the boyfriend that she had. And when she did, she moved even more so in like a drug neighborhood. So it was really like needles everywhere. You can't go on the porch because people would throw their needles out of their car. You can't walk anywhere barefoot. Needles laying on the sidewalk, in the grass. If you go to your public park, there were needles everywhere. Not really a good place for kids. But like, I remember this one time I was walking without shoes on the sidewalk, like down the hill, and I stepped on a piece of glass. And I didn't have shoes because our aunt wouldn't really, my feet were growing and she wasn't buying things for us. But I wasn't wearing shoes, and I stepped on glass, and like beside the glass was like a needle. And I remember thinking that day, like, I have to find a way to get shoes. Me and her, we would spill milk on our clothes at school, and like kind of like spill it on our feet with our like two small shoes. That way we could get new shoes, and that way we could get new underwear, because we didn't have clothes that fit us. Our aunt would sell the food stamps to people for drugs. If we missed the bus, we would get beaten, so we would have to walk to school if we missed the bus. And this was something that people would drive by and see, like a 13-year-old holding school books and walking an hour to school. The abuse wasn't really even kept private. Like, neighbors heard things, people seen things, and things were subtly reported.
And you all were in a pretty rural part of Harlan County, is that correct?
Yeah.
From your school?
Yeah. I mean, I would walk. We lived at Pride Terrace. I'd walk from Pride Terrace to that little elementary school. But Yeah, it was like an hour walk. It felt like forever, like when I'd have to walk. But I remember thinking it was much more worth it than getting beaten. We would come home from school.
I remember one point in time, I had stayed the night in Holly Point, and I missed the bus, and I walked from Holly Point to Harlan County High School.
Wow.
So, I don't know if you've ever been in Harlan, but it's a long, long way.
That's a long way for any child to be walking, especially with people passing them on the highway and not knowing who's going to be going by you, who's going to be picking you up, or try to pick you up. Mm-hmm. She put you all in a much more dangerous situation by doing that.
Oh, for sure. Charity actually almost got took by somebody one time. They pulled her in their vehicle. Our oldest sister, she was walking, and they pulled her in their vehicle, and half of her body was in and half of it was out, and she pushed out with her knees and somehow got out of the vehicle. And other cars were coming, and the people drove off. But I remember whenever I would walk, I never got anyone who would check on me. I got people who were like, move, like if I was walking too much in the road, or like they'd like catcall me and be like, nice ass, and I'd just be 13 years old.
Yep.
And I feel like it's pretty obvious when someone's 13 years old. I mean, I was tiny. It's pretty obvious, but people in Harlan, a lot of times they don't look as little girls. They look at girls as women, no matter what age, just women. Age is just nothing to them.
Talking to a lot of women, I think that happens to a lot of women.
Yeah.
I've heard people say that they remember getting catcalled more when they was a child than they did when they're an adult.
Oh, for sure. When I was 13, I definitely got catcalled more than I even do now. But our aunt, she got more into drugs, and me and my sisters, we ended up running from her because we were terrified of her. Like, I remember the day that we ran. Abby had been asking my aunt's boyfriend if he could do our laundry, because she didn't have no underwear to wear, I didn't have no underwear to wear, and she needed clothes. And our aunt got so mad at Abby that she started hitting Abby. And I remember, like, one of the hits that she done.
Hey, I'm going to tell this one. So one time I asked his boyfriend if he would wash my Blues uniform because I was in JROTC. And the next day I had to wear it. I'd get in trouble if I didn't wear it at school. And I knew that I didn't want to ask her to do it because, like, she
would get mad if we asked for something.
Yeah,
if we asked her to do chores, she would basically be like, just get mad and not do it. Be like, you're lazy. But she wouldn't ever let us do it, or we would get in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So her boyfriend told her that I'd asked about the uniform, and she come up and was like, why are you asking to wash your uniform? And I was like, because I need it for tomorrow. And then after I said that, she pimp smacked me in the face. And then Charity came around the corner and said, did you just hit Abigail? And I said, no. And Charity said, I just seen you hit her. And then Charity started tumbling around, and then I went upstairs to pack my bags, and we all three took off running down the hill. We was running away.
You all decided that it was
time to go.
Better to get out of there and not know what is ahead of you than to stay.
They actually left without me. And they put their shoes on quick, and they left without me. And I was looking at the rack, and there was no shoes for me to wear. And I was like, ain't no way they're leaving me here with her. I was like terrified. I was like, she's going to kill me if I stay here. I got to go. I ran barefoot down that hill, and it hurt. It hurt. My feet were slapping against the pavement. There was like little rocks. I was dodging needles left and right. It's pretty bad. I was running down that hill. My feet hurt bad. So we ran down the hill, and our aunt didn't report us missing whenever we left. I actually slept in an abandoned high school that night. My sister, Charity, who's not here with us now, she's sick. She had a boyfriend who was actually older. And I can't remember exactly how old. He was in his 20s, and she was like 16. Our aunt knew about it and okayed this relationship. He had actually even lived with us at one point. So she was with this guy, and I remember she went to go stay with him, and you went with your boyfriend, right? Mm-hmm. So she went with her boyfriend, and I had nowhere to go. And Charity was like, oh, like, you can come stay with me. And I was just, like, thinking of how wrong the relationship was. And I was just like, what's going to happen to me if I go there? Like, is something going to happen? I was just thinking about my uncle and thinking about the trauma with that. And I was just, like, too scared. So I was like, okay, no. So I didn't have anywhere else to go. And I ended up sleeping in an abandoned high school, which was really scary. This was, like, towards fall. It was so cold. I slept in the library room. And the library room had, like, a gaping hole in the wall. I slept on the carpet. I didn't have a jacket. And I had, like, a little middle school boyfriend during the time. It was just, like, an online thing because I was so scared of men and boys. We just dated online. But he ended up staying with me that night. It was a very awkward and cold night. Like, we didn't talk, but when we did, we were like, it is so cold in here. And he stayed with me because he was scared of what would happen to me if I stayed in there alone. But, like, we froze, we shivered all night, and then that next day, like, he threw up at a park in the trash can. And I just remember thinking at that moment, like, yeah, it's pretty damn cold. Like, if he's thrown up, I felt sick.
Yeah.
And it was a really bad time for me also because it's personal, but during that time, I was on my period, but our aunt wouldn't give us pads or anything for that. I remember just going to, like, the gas station and walking in the gas station at 13 years old, like, feeling sick to my stomach and having to just stuff my underwear with toilet paper to not bleed out everywhere. And,
sounds like overall a very controlling environment.
It was very controlling.
They kept you all on a tight leash, so to speak, to where you couldn't get out and you couldn't tell anyone other than family about it. And
yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about how it came out with school and your group of friends and stuff like that?
I was in 2nd or 3rd grade whenever it came up in school. Do you want to talk about that? You want to talk about how it came up with you the first time?
Sometime between the time that I was 13 or 14, I had told my friend group at school about the abuse that had been going on, and my friend group, one of them told my school counselor. And the school counselor pulled me in and she asked me, like, you know, what was going on, you know, why I was telling my friends stuff had been going on at home. And I didn't think at the time that it would get back to the counselor. I was just telling somebody because I felt like I didn't have nobody to tell.
Yeah.
So I told the counselor. I ended up getting really scared because then I knew that the counselor would tell or contact the family.
Yeah.
So I just told her that, like, it was bluff. But the friend group told her on the first time.
Yeah.
And then I believe the next following year, wasn't it? Next following year, Charity.
It was like the next following year, Charity told her friends as well. So it came up twice in school.
And Charity is your all's older sister, correct?
Yeah, she is our oldest sister.
She's just not able to be here today because she's sick.
Yeah, her and her kids are sick. But, so Charity told her friends and it got back to the school counselor. And so it came up twice in school and it wasn't treated properly. It wasn't investigated properly. It was not reported to CPS. It was just like a little... I felt like it catered to him because I remember being asked about it once alone by my counselor. And I said no because I was scared. I didn't want to lose my sisters. That's anytime someone asked me anything about that, like around that time period, I was just like thinking about my sister. I was like, I'm going to lose them if I say anything.
Was you afraid at the time that if you did speak out, it could possibly get you taken from the home and your sister left in that environment without you?
Yeah, that was very scary. And you know, my uncle would say that a lot. Basically that we would be split up and some of us might stay there. And in my head, my sister was my whole life and probably more important than me, but definitely more important than me. Like, I just felt like, I don't know, like I would take a bullet for her. You know, we were kids, we were close. But whenever I was asked about it, I said no. And then I remember they pulled him into the to the principal's office, and it was like it was brought up again, and they asked us again with him in the same room, and we said no because we were scared. You look at situations like that. My aunt said she didn't know whenever it was brought up, and that was before she found out about it, actually. I feel like if it was brought up, you would be looking at someone more and be kind of looking for signs.
And those wasn't the first allegations made against him with you all. There had been prior allegations made with other children, multiple allegations. Is that correct?
Yes. So when the police, social workers had been coming up and asking, because we were talking at school and we were telling people what happened with our uncle and what he done to us. And this was within a few months of my aunt leaving him. So the social workers, they came and they done the little at-home investigations. I was always terrified. I would not tell a social worker anything. In my head, they were going to take me away from my sisters. In my head, they were like the meanest people alive, because that's what my aunt and uncle always made me think. So I told them no. I said that none of that happened, that my aunt was super nice, that she wasn't abusive, and they didn't check me for marks or bruises or anything during all these allegations. But, so it was put off, and the case wasn't actually opened until after we had ran. So when we ran and our aunt didn't report us, I went to go stay with a friend, and my sisters, actually, they both came with me. She ended up leaving because I was pregnant. You weren't pregnant during that. That's whenever she was about to get pregnant. So she had her boyfriend, and she left because she couldn't see him. It was a stricter. She wasn't used to stricter household of people, like someone actually caring. Mm-hmm. They were like, the parents didn't want her to get pregnant, and she's like, I don't know. That was her first time she felt freedom without getting beat for it. So our aunt was trying to butter up to us and get us back during that time. So our aunt told her that she could see her boyfriend if she came back. So she came back because she was like, I want to go see my boyfriend all the time anyways, because that was the agreement between her and our aunt.
So they used that to basically bribe her to be able to come back home so you could be with that boyfriend at the time. Yeah,
because my aunt wanted to keep getting the check for her. So it was just like, for her, it was great. But, because she got kinship care. We were under kinship care. So she separated from us, and then our aunt reported to CPS. Her and my aunt reported to CPS. It might have just actually been her, actually. She told CPS that we were given drugs or whatever in this home we lived in. So CPS came and investigated, and a cop came. So when the cop came, that's whenever I was like, I don't really know why. I just started telling him everything. I got comfortable, and just started at that moment. I was like, you know what? I'm tired. I'm in a place to where I'm not going to get beat for what I say. I'm going to come out about everything. He wasn't even there for that, and I just started telling him. I was like, yeah, I was molested. Like, not exactly like I was molested, because I couldn't say a lot of that during that time. I just started talking to him about everything that happened. I felt comfortable with him. I felt safe with him. Like I said, I don't know why. It was just the first moment. Even that I had around cops, because I was terrified of cops. Yeah. But I told him everything, and I was the first one to, come out about it. Then it got sent to the talking forensics. Is that how you would word that? Because they said it was forensics, but it was supposed to be a forensics office where they talk to you.
A forensic interview.
Yeah. So we done like a forensic interview. During that time, our aunt was making her say it wasn't true, because our aunt would make us say certain things, and if we didn't, we'd get beat for it. Like if we slipped up with one little thing, we would get beat. So we went to the interview, and they based it off of word, and because she said, so they later told us, but because she said that it wasn't true, and that me and my other sister were bad influences, and that we just wanted to get back at our aunt and uncle, the case ended up being dropped because of that. we weren't given like a physical, like forensic examination. It was just purely based off of word. And they said they investigated him, but I don't ever remember talking to the detective. And I don't really, they said they investigated him and couldn't have his kids around him, but I don't really know how they, per se, investigated him. So they told us we didn't have enough proof. We actually found out the case was closed whenever we went to our first foster home in Barville. At our first foster home, and she was pregnant. And that's a huge reason why our aunt, like, because she wasn't going to get a check no more, and because she was pregnant, she's like, I'm going to get in trouble for her being pregnant. So we got sent to our mama's, because she didn't want us, she told us just for a weekend. It was not. Then our mama, she was crazy. Our mama had actually heard about it happening the very first night that my aunt found out. She later went on and told a bunch of people, and my mama was one of them. So my mama was just like, he can burn in hell, but she didn't ever really want to protect us. Like, she didn't ever go to the cops because she loved her daughter more. It was more so, I want to protect my daughter than my grandkids type of situation. So we got sent to her, and like, I remember my oldest sister, she stepped on a needle there because my mama had some kids who would live with her. Some of her kids, our aunts, uncles, would come there and they'd be on drugs and they'd shoot up. And I remember Charity, she stepped on a needle, and that was kind of like our first eye-opener. And then our mama, she started like getting mad at us for eating food, and when we'd ask her to cook for us, she got mad saying that we were eating too much, that we were taking all of her food. Like, I remember, was it you who drank a pop?
I ate a potato and she got mad.
She went crazy. Like, I remember one of us drank a pop. I don't remember who. I know it wasn't me. One of us drank a pop, and she flipped a couch over that. Like, she was pissed that we drank her pop. It was pretty bad. When the realizations hit us, basically, that, okay, this is not a good situation. At that moment, since we had already basically come out about everything and had our truths, like, we were willing to go to foster care. This gets crazier. We did not tell you about this. I'm sorry. So we were willing to go to foster care, and so Charity actually carved our initials into her leg because she was so scared that we would never see each other again if we got put in foster care. And could you imagine a child being that scared that they carve someone's initials, their siblings' initials, and that's pretty... she made us carve them. She made us carve them. Like, yeah, it was... She literally, like, done this. I'm sorry, more stuff keeps coming back the more I talk about
You're
that.
fine.
But she made us carve our initials into her leg, and I remember us all crying and holding each other, like, on the bed, and we were just like, we're going to come out about everything. We're going to be put in foster care because we can't live here like this. So then our mom came back into our lives, and we were like, oh, wait, we don't have to go to foster care. Like, we can just live with our mom. She can get sober. She's not sober, but she can get sober. So our mom... She comes there, and she wants to go to the creek with us and see us more. And we're like, yeah. And then our mama, she got really pissed off because she was like, your mom is no good. She's a druggie. You don't need to be around her. So she hated that we were spending time with her. And then a huge fight broke out because we went to a creek. And our mama was basically like, choose her or me, who you're going with. So we were like, okay, we're going with our mom because you're really crazy. And the police actually came and told our mom that she could take us, even though she had never really been proven fit as a mother since she first lost us. They're basically like, as long as she's like, I don't have a place to live, is that okay? And they're like, yeah, as long as you find somewhere to go. So we pushed our stuff in grocery buggies. She actually had a hamster and a ball. I know that's really random, but she had a gerbil in like this plastic ball, and like we were walking around. This was Pineville, wasn't it? We were walking around Pineville, pushing our belongings in grocery buggies.
It's Millsboro.
Oh, Millsboro. So I always get them confused. I don't know why. I keep telling people I was born in Millsboro whenever I was not. And so we were in Millsboro. You want to talk about it?
Yeah. So we was in Middlesboro, and her mom had said we was going to go to her boyfriend's house. So we walked, I don't even know how many hours, like 3 or 4 hours. I mean, we're walking and walking and walking. We're asking people on the side of the road if we can have waters.
Yeah.
We finally get to her boyfriend's house, and we're all there. We got a buggy with us with all of our stuff, got a gerbil, and her boyfriend's mom comes out of this house and says, "These girls can't stay here," and we're all just lost. We're like, "Where do we go now?"
And it was a trap house.
Yeah, it
Wow.
was a drug house. I was like, "Well, can you at least take care of my gerbil? If I'm going to be homeless, I can't take care of it." So I gave my gerbil to that woman. And then my mom said that she was going to take us to Pineville, that she knew a friend. So
Oh, no, we went to the homeless shelter.
Oh, yeah, we went to the homeless shelter first. And then
They rejected us.
they rejected us, yeah. Even with a buggy full of our stuff sitting there.
Yeah.
Well,
So then we had to go from Millsboro to Pineville. I'm pretty sure we hitchhiked to Pineville. Didn't we?
Didn't we go to Pineville after Mom? We hitchhiked. No. Okay.
I remember being in the
You want me
car
to
with
tell it?
somebody.
That was her boyfriend, and that was on the way to the trap house. So I don't think we went to Pineville until Mom left us.
Oh, yeah, we was in...
Well, talk about that first night we stayed with strangers after the homeless shelter rejected us.
Okay, so we stayed with strangers the first night. My mom's friend's friend knew someone we could stay with, and we stayed in their attic. And it was wild. We all piled up in one room. We didn't even have no idea who these people was. But, I mean, at least we was not homeless.
Or getting beaten.
Or getting beaten. We knew where we was staying for the night.
you was together, and
Yeah.
that was the most important thing, and you wasn't being beat on or sexually abused.
Yeah. So that next day, I remember, to my understanding, that Mom told us we was going to go. She had somewhere for us to go, so we was walking with her. We walked out while in this time period. We walked for literally felt like 3 days straight with a buggy full of stuff. So we walked to this apartment complex, and she was like, "Yeah, girls, we're going to stay here the night." So I walk into this apartment that she said we was going to stay in, and there's nothing in it. It's a broken into apartment that everybody parties into. I remember there was beer cans everywhere. There was a spider as big as a paper plate in the bathtub that was dead. I mean, it was wild. Okay, so Mom told us that she was going to go see a friend for a few minutes, and she left and never came back.
So we
was
were homeless
stranded.
again in somewhere, the city we didn't even know. Like, we didn't even know anybody there. So they called their boyfriends. She had a boyfriend, and our older sister had a boyfriend. They called them. Charity went on her own with her boyfriend. He was 18, 19. And we went with her boyfriend. So our mom called the social workers and told them that they needed to get us. She reported us. And the police ended up looking for us. So during that time, like,
How long did she leave you all at that apartment before you all left?
She never came back.
that was like 4 hours. Like at 4 hours, we realized because she had come in and out of our lofts. Mm-hmm. And we kind of started getting suspicious as each hour ticked by because it felt like forever in that place. Because, I mean, there was cockroaches and we didn't know anyone. We were like, we cannot do this.
Yeah.
But we waited 4 hours. She was supposed to bring back food. She didn't.
Pizza incident.
Yeah,
too.
she was supposed to bring back food, and we realized, okay, yeah, this is not going to work. So she reports us to the police, and the police is looking for us. But while the police is looking for us, we're walking around homeless on the streets. And I mean, this is like, we're contacting every family member possible, and we're like, hey, can we come live with you? And they're like, no, you're trouble. No, we've heard bad things about you. You lie.
And this is all family on the same side as the uncle that...
This is both sides of the family. Like, both of them had an idea that we were liars and, like, bad. I mean, I guess they trust the other person more than children, you know.
They didn't believe what you all was saying at the time.
Yeah, they thought we were just full of lies and that we'd lie about them next. Because that's what our aunt would tell them, and she'd go and she'd talk to people and family members and tell them stuff like that. But
so she alienated both sides of your family against you all.
Both sides of our family, yes. So we're walking around homeless on the street, and we do end up staying with one of our cousins that night, and they were both older. So I was 14 at the time, and this man, he offered us alcohol. She didn't drink because she was pregnant. I drank. I guess where I didn't really do it when I was younger, when everyone else did. So I drank. And I remember, like I remember him being, like, flirty towards me. And then the girls, like, they started being really protective, and they're like, okay, we can't stay here. Like, we don't like how he's doing and how he's trying to be flirty towards her. Because, I mean, he was the one who gave us the alcohol, and it was just like at one point I was hot, and, like, I was, like, trying to take my shirt off, and he was just, like, staying in the room, and my sisters were like, you know, you need to go, and he's just, like, wanting to sit there and talk and have fun, and no older man has any business giving a younger child alcohol. So we ended up leaving there the next day, which we knew that would only be a temporary thing anyways, but we were like, okay, we're not staying here another night. And that's whenever that's whenever we separated. So when we separated, the cops were looking for us. They caught Charity first, and when they caught Charity, they really started looking for me and Abby, and it was like this huge thing that they were looking for us. We were terrified. At one point, I was even like, hey, let's go in the mountains and just survive. They've done got Charity. She's gone. Let's just go live in the mountains. It'll be okay. Like, we'll eat tree bark. I don't know. Let's go up there. And then we realized, you know, that's unrealistic. She's pregnant. She was 15. Like, she's pregnant. We're going to have to give ourselves in. And what really pushed us to make that choice to turn ourselves in, because we probably could have went in the mountains and never been found. I'm telling you, we probably could have. But what pushed us is Charity. She called Abby's phone, and she was like, you know, social workers are telling us if you turn yourselves in now, we'll all be put together. We won't be split up. It's okay, guys. Like, you can trust them. It's okay. So we gave ourselves in. They lied. They split us up. Charity, me and her stayed together, but Charity got put by herself because Charity was always called, like, the bad influence. I know this is really crazy and random, but the trailer that we got put in was the trailer that we lived in with our mom and dad, like, 7 years prior. They had all of her parents' old furniture. They had, like, old singing cassette tapes that my mom and dad had recorded whenever they went to church. It was really eerie and creepy because they'd play them on the radio, like the little cassette player. Mm-hmm. We'd hear them singing and just be like, I don't know. It was freaky. I don't know what are the chances of being put in that house again. That was very freaky. And it was ate up with cockroaches and bed bugs. I mean, it's kind of what we were told would happen, that we would get split up. We would get ate up by cockroaches and bed bugs, and that's whenever we found out that the case was closed, whenever we was there. I remember she was pregnant. Like, she was, like, allergic to the bed bugs, and they were eating her more than they were me. It was pretty bad. And she was calling CPS, like, every day, and she was like, hey, we got bed bugs. Like, they're eating us. And they were like, no, you're liars. You ain't got nothing.
Whenever I found out I was pregnant, I was already 3 or 4 months along.
And at 15 years old? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually found out because I was in a four-wheeler accident, and I got hurt pretty bad, and my aunt didn't even come to pick me up. So I think that's what ended up, in my opinion, that's how CPS ended up getting involved and questioning maybe, is because the hospital was trying to contact him to come and pick me up because I'd been in an accident and she wouldn't come pick me up. I actually had to get my boyfriend's mom to lie and say that she was just so I could leave the hospital.
Wow.
Because they acted like they wasn't even going to let me check out unless, like, my aunt checked me out.
There were many signs. I mean, Charity, she even tried to overdose and had to go to the hospital where they gave her like charcoal, and they questioned like some of the drugs that were in her system and why she got a hold of them. It's because her aunt was doing drugs.
Yeah.
It was pretty easy to access. So I guess the point where it starts turning, whenever we got put in that foster home, that's whenever we were really like, oh, this was really wrong what happened. And then we hear it's closed and we're just angry because we're like, why not come talk to us now and let Abby actually speak up about everything, you know what I mean? And
at one point I had tried to like make things right and try to go back. I told my CPS workers that the reason why that I had lied is because I was under the care of a at the time. And they said that I couldn't because I'd already lied, and it would make the case look even worse because I went back on my word.
So when we were kids, we used to play with 2 little girls next door, and it was Neil's family's kids. We were older than them. I used to pretend to be their mommy. We'd make them like mud cakes. And, like, we put, like, little grass as sprinkles. And I remember, yeah, we used to, like, pretend to be their mommy. I loved them. And I always thought about them. And when we got put in that first foster home, I really thought about them. And I realized, oh, my God, he's around little kids still. He's free. He didn't get in trouble for this. And I just thought about, like, when my aunt found out and about how he still kept doing it. Like, he didn't care that she found out because she didn't offer him consequence, really.
While we went back to foster care, like, whenever she put us with her mama, right after that, she went back to live with her husband, Neil.
The one that had been molesting you all for all those years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we forgot that point. She said it's because she had to give us up. That's why she gave us up. No, that wasn't why. She realized she wasn't going to get a check anymore, and she realized she was going to get in trouble for her being pregnant, or felt that she was going to get in trouble for her being pregnant. But in that first foster home, that's the first time I really started to think about all the kids he was around and the girls next door. About 2 years ago, it was a little over 2 years ago. It could have been 3, 2.5. We really hit the point where we were like, okay, we're all parents now. We're thinking about kids. What happened to us? You know, like, why is this man still free? He's in churches. The girls living next door, I would have nightmares. And just nightmares of them being hurt and no one helping them. And nightmares of just like, it'd be like I would be on the ceiling just watching stuff. Like, and couldn't move off the ceiling. Just stuff like that. And we would talk about it a lot, so we decided to open a case. I don't know how much can be put in there, but that's whenever we opened the case on him. So we opened the case on Christopher, and the case had kind of been doing nothing because we kind of knew it was almost like hopeless. Like, we felt it was our way of doing something, but we kind of knew it was damned. I mean, we didn't have physical proof. How could we get it? You know, we weren't checked whenever it was supposed to be happening. But we just wanted to know that we'd done what we could. So the case had been open, and then last year something happened. Yes, there's other victims, the girls, and they were brave enough to speak out about it. And I told them as soon as they spoke out about it that they were so strong for being able to speak out about it. And I told them that I want to be there for them like I never had anybody there for me.
You're all very strong.
And I am more of a family member to the girls than a fellow victim. To me, it's like I feel like they're my family. They're the only people I can look at and say, they went through what I went through.
You're trauma
Yeah.
bonded is
Yeah.
what it is.
And, I have the natural instinct to want to watch over these girls and make sure that harm never comes to them. And make sure that they weren't mistreated by the justice system like we were. Because I felt like we were heavily mistreated. And I do still feel like we're being heavily mistreated by the justice system like today. How they look down on victims and how they look down on women. In a lot of situations, they won't actually go by protocols or treat things like they should have been treated. And I would never want that to happen to the other victims.
And your overall goal with today, with this interview, is that wanting to put a brighter light on what he done with you all and possibly reach out if there is any other victims to come forward?
Absolutely. So any other victims, I'm telling you, you will be safe. You won't get hurt. You can step forward. I promise you it will feel better than to hold in what he has done to you, because that will tear you apart and you don't deserve that. You deserve to have someone believe you, and you deserve to speak up for yourself. I hope that we would be an inspiration to other victims.
And also, silence doesn't protect you, it protects the abuser. So,
It can be hard to speak up. It is hard to speak up, but you're not alone. And when someone does this to multiple kids, you're not alone. I feel like that's what people really need to know, because that's how we felt. We were just alone. We were called liars, told to shut up, but that's not how it has to be. And I hope, just like me speaking about it now, because it's been so many years, and a lot of people have been like, why are you so held on? Let go. Why are you letting this consume you? I'm not letting this consume me. I want to protect other kids. I want to, if it would have been treated correctly from the beginning, there wouldn't be other victims. There wouldn't be 2 new girls. I really do want to be an inspiration. And can I talk about my book in this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I absolutely want to be an inspiration, and that's why I also wrote a book on things that happened that I do plan on releasing this year. And if anyone wants, motivation to speak up or wants to feel connected to someone, read my book. Maybe it will inspire you. Maybe you will think, hey, maybe I can help somebody else. A lot of people don't want to speak up because they're like, it didn't happen. I don't want to relive it. Well, there's other people living it.
And hopefully you all help to break that cycle of abuse where he's been abusing kids for years. It would be nice if, with their case, he can finally be locked up, hopefully for good.
Hopefully for good. That's like the best outcome. It's not that we want to rebel against the system and be like, screw you. That's not what we want. We just want justice in some sort of even tiny way. We just want someone to be like, I'm sorry that happened to you, not, are you lying? You seem like you're lying. And nowadays, I've said it many times, I feel like the victims get investigated more than the perpetrators. And I hate that. I really do. But I would do it all over again to be able to save somebody else. And I'll stand by that.
Absolutely.
And I hope I can use my voice to help somebody. And I don't view myself as a savior. I don't have a savior complex. But to know that happened to me and to be there for somebody, like I needed someone to be there for me, that is a world of difference. That is mind altering. And I'm so happy. When your life feels like good, you feel like you can do at least one good thing. I feel like of everything that happened to me, that's like the one thing I did that can make up for it. If I die tomorrow, I'll die happy, knowing at least they're okay. But I won't die tomorrow. And I'll probably write some more books on this. But I'm going to release my book, and I'm going to keep talking about it and get comfortable and not as awkward. It's hard. It is hard. We spoke about it a lot, but also this isn't something that's easy to talk about.
No, absolutely not.
But you can. To all victims out there, you can do it. You can speak about it. You don't have to go on a podcast or get it recorded or post it, but you can go to the cops.
Counselors, there's lots of people that you can talk to help get things off your chest and help you start to heal. And that's the main thing, is starting the healing process.
For sure.
And some people, if you can use helping others to start that healing process, that's the perfect way to do it.
And I think people need to understand that this wasn't something that he just did. He's not the only bad person in this. This is something that so many people aided, and so many people are guilty for aiding this as well. And his family, they are guilty. And there's been multiple people speak up about it. They've heard, and 10 people can't be liars. There will always be people working in subtle ways to try to cover up what he did. But we can see through that, and we're going to stand on the fact that we will die on this hill if we have to. Like, we're not letting go of this. And I know I've laughed a lot in this interview, and I've cried some, which is embarrassing, mind you, by the way, just so you know. But the reason why I am laughing is because I feel happiness at the fact that I can speak out about this. That I'm not letting someone's hand be around my neck anymore. And happiness that I have people to unite with. I hate that it happened to them, but I'm glad that they're from that they're out of that situation, and that there's other people I can connect to that can speak on this. Other people that can help me have a voice. I didn't just help them have a voice. That's what I'm trying to say. I didn't just help them have a voice. They've helped me have a voice. And standing up for someone else, to me, has been easier than standing up for me. So finding out that there were absolutely other victims, I'd always thought it. But finding out in concrete is like, it's been my driven. It's been like the fire lit under my ass. It's been like, yeah. Like, I am really, really not letting this go. It's one thing to think, and then to actually find out he's still doing this. It's like,
well, it's just with the ongoing case against him currently.
No one wants to think it.
Proves it even more, what you're saying, and all of the other allegations that's been made against him from possibly other people in the past. That should make people open their eyes a little bit more, because of, when somebody is a preacher or a person in a position of power, typically they have multiple victims over years, and this is exactly what this is.
And I would say one of the biggest controversies, I cannot say that word, oh my God, controversial things about cases like this is people don't want to hear about it, because they think, if I don't hear about it, basically it's not happening. Well, it's happening. And, for all the years I wanted to forget about it and just push it out of my head that it could be happening to other people as much as I could. Well, it was, and it's not going to go away. Not until you actually go through and stand up for children and stand up for the victims. And that is one of the things I hope people can also take. Like, people have more power than they realize. Like, you can stand up for someone more than you realize.
Just by you laughing through this interview, you're taking some of that power away from him.
Yeah. Like, he don't get to see me just sitting here crying. No. And he'll probably watch this.
I hope he does.
I hope he does, because Q. You, child molester, and you know what? You're going to get gotten. And you will be below the jail. So make more jokes about that. That's my word. You got anything you want to say?
Mm-mm.